How you keep a job for 22 years and you got 6 playoff wins? Punk ass Jeff Fisher. I hate how that man did. That man, and I think he did it knowingly. That man purposely sabotaged Vince Young's career. Now listen, Vince Young and me and my brother get in this argument all the time, and you listen to the Doug Stewart Show. Vince Young didn't do a lot to help his situation, but the way that Jeff Fisher threw him under the bus and made it seem like he quit on his team, which was probably not the case. If you hear Vince Young's side of the story, it wasn't that case. It wasn't that clear cut. I hated that, man. And the man ain't even a damn good coach on top of it. I'm giving damn Jeff Fisher Dick Vermeil Super Bowl. I have taken a lot of hits to the head. But y'all know what I meant. Privilege. Back in a minute or two. We late for a break. Hold on.
Hey, what's going on, Stu Nation? This is Vince Wright, the sports governor from the great state of Minnesota. Want to thank you for listening to Sports Done Right every Wednesday here on SME. Make sure you keep it tuned here for me and all the other X Squad affiliate shows on SME. Peace.
Hour number 2 of the Doug Stewart Show, baby. Let's go. All right, it is hour number 2 of the Doug Stewart Show. That was probably the quickest break in the history of this show. I don't even know if we call it a break, man. Hey, thank y'all for tuning in to the show. This is a Tribute Tuesday. Paying homage to the great Tupac Shakur. I got way behind in the breaks, man, talking about Jeff Fisher, man, and how I don't understand. You know, the fact that Jeff Fisher gets these opportunities to coach forever and ever and ever, made one Super Bowl appearance, which they didn't win. This man's coached for 22 years. He's ruined a couple of careers. He kind of sullied or slowed down the progress of one or both of them in particular. Steve McNair, you remember when McNair first got into the NFL? Like, he sat him on the bench. Like, you can tell he really didn't want anything to do with him. Same thing with Vince Young. Was that the year that Matt Leinart came out? It was either Matt Leinart or I think it was Matt Leinart out of USC. And so everybody was saying and reporting that Jeff Fisher really didn't want anything to do with Vince Young. You know, sources were saying. Like, he wanted to trade down to get Matt Leinart. You know, later in the draft, which he ultimately, I think, did go in the end of the first round or whatever. Matt Leinart, you know, his history, his career wasn't anything to write home about. And so from day one, man, I think he had a vendetta against Vince Young. That's my personal opinion. I don't care what you say. Yes, Vince Young proved out not to be one of the best quarterbacks ever, but I'll say this. If freaking Case Keenum can work in the NFL, you know, if Ryan Mallett and Zach Mettenberger can work in the NFL, Vince Young should be in the league. For the fact that you tried out Case Keenum in that game last night, when all you got to do is pick up the phone and call Vince Young, shame on you. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Yes, I know. Don't send me a bunch of posts in the chat room or emails. Doug, Vince Young's been out of football a couple of years or whatever. I understand. My point to you is this. If you know anything about football and you watched that boy Case Keenum last night and you've watched him, once again, they're the coaching staff. They've been doing this for a long time, presumably. Jeff Fisher's been around football forever. You can't tell me Jeff Fisher watched that Case Keenum kid in practice, okay, and decided to trot him out there the first game of the year when he knows good and well that kid sucks. Stop it. Well, they wanted to start Jared Goff, and Goff isn't ready. They didn't even dress this kid Goff. Okay? So I don't want to hear about that. They picked the man, and whether he played or dressed or not, it's their fault. So you mean to tell me that you rather trot out there that Case Keenum kid than pick up the phone and call Vince Young straight off the damn couch? Man, you could have done better last night. You would have had more chance to win that damn game last night if you called Vince Young off the couch right now, if you called Mike Vick off the couch right now, if you called Vince Evans off the damn couch right now, 70-year-old Vince Evans. Call up Steve DeBerg out this bitch. But you can't put that kid on the field last night that I saw. No. That's embarrassing. The first game of the year, they've been following your ass around for a month and a half with cameras on that damn Hard Knock show, and you put that kid out in the field to start for your team the first game of the year in the NFL? That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. I don't care what nobody says. That is unacceptable. You know football. You know football. I'm going to move on from this. You know football, right, Mr. Jeff Fisher? Right, coaching staff of the St. Louis/LA Rams or whatever? You know football. You can't possibly have watched that kid for a month and a half and said that it would be a good idea to put him behind center on Monday Night Football. First game of the year. You couldn't possibly think that. You couldn't possibly think that, man. I promise you. You call Steve DeBerg right now. Steve DeBerg got to be 75 years old. All right, for the young generation, listen to the show right now. I keep making a Steve DeBerg reference. Steve DeBerg played, I'm going to guess, until he was like 43, 44 years old. He never started. He was always a backup. I promise you, Steve DeBerg was a backup quarterback for 25 years. But he just kept the job. And whenever he got in there, he didn't louse it up. You know, he just wasn't a starter. And, you know, he was big. He had a big arm. And you know that whole thing. He looked like a quarterback. 6'5", 230 pounds or whatever. But Steve DeBerg, for the most part, sucked. But he was solid. Okay? I promise you right now, if they would have called Steve DeBerg on the golf course, Steve DeBerg would have dropped everything and came out there last night and gave you better production than that Case Keenum kid. I'm done with it. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Let me read some of your messages in the chat room from Rough Buff in the chat room on Spreaker.com. It says, Golf played like Ish on Hard Knocks. And that's another thing. I think that the fact that they didn't even dress this Golf kid out, that's not a good indicator. That tells me that he absolutely sucked. You know why? Because they would put him out there, they would dress him out, and they would put him out there rather than not dress him at all just to save face. The fact that they didn't dress him at all is not a good indicator. We'll see. Time will tell. From Sidney Jackson, call Vinny Testaverde. You damn right. Call Vinny Testaverde right now. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. From Peter Quill. What up, Peter Quill? Met him this weekend as well. If the Rams lose one more game where they try to ram Gurley left and right all paws, then they oh, that didn't sound good. The owner needs to fire Fisher and the offensive coordinator. You know what? You've seen these situations where a coach gets fired early into the season, and this is one of those cases where I could see Fisher getting fired. If they get blown out the next game, remember, if they get blown out the next game, and I believe their next home game is a home game, first game back in L.A., okay? If they get blown out with all the attention that they've gotten with this move from, Tennessee or from St. Louis to L.A., and they don't have a quarterback out there. They drafted this kid, Goff, who pretty much they are saying isn't worth the ish that, his name is written on. And if they just keep trying to damn feed the ball to Todd Gurley 30, 40 times and get his ass hurt, I can see it where they can fire him. I can see where they'll fire Jeff Fisher. Yes, mid-season, and let a coordinator take over or whatever. Because it's just a bad, bad look from Gary G. Munter Jr. Jeff Fisher is freaking awful, overrated coach. From KC, how bad is Jared Goff if he couldn't beat out Case Keenum? I think that there was I'm not 100% sure, but I think that part of the reasoning on Jared Goff was I think an injury came into play where he missed some times. I'm going to check that. I'm not exactly sure, but that may not even be the case. The fact that he couldn't beat out Case Keenum, if he was healthy and he wasn't able to beat out Case Keenum to the degree where they didn't even give his ass a uniform. You remember when you were in JV football? I don't know about you at your high school or whatever. So a big thing was making the team, first of all. And then the second big hurdle you had to get over was, were they going to give your ass a uniform to go on road games? They didn't want to give Jared Goff a damn uniform. Yeah, travel with the team. I just want to see if I made the travel team. Okay? Jared Goff, first pick for the Los Angeles Rams in the first round, they didn't even put his ass on the travel team. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. From Andre Elam, Cousin didn't look like a $20 million quarterback. Speaking of Kirk Cousins and the Seattle or the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Washington Redskins last night, Redskins, man, I'm going to tell you what. They won the damn conference last year, the division last year, the NFC East last year. But as I said a couple of days ago when I picked my division winners, I mean, really, it's the lesser of 2, 3, 4 evils, okay? It's the lesser of 4 evils. That team didn't look good last night. The Pittsburgh Steelers looked pretty damn good, 38-16. Ben Roethlisberger, 27 for 37, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. D'Angelo Williams looked like he's found the fountain of youth. 26 carries, 143 yards. Antonio Brown, I mean, they're saying it out loud right now, I think, maybe because Julio had a tough game and he hurt his foot or his ankle or whatever. But last night, they continued to say that Antonio Brown's the best wide receiver in football, and he might be. 8 catches, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. He might be the best player on the damn field. He might be the best player in the league. He might not just be the best wide receiver in the league. He might be the best player in the league. They're talking about this man catching 2,000 yards this year. The smallest person on the field damn near every single night. That's a player. Make a play. Make a goddamn play.
Listening to the Doug Stewart Show may cause sore throat from arguing about.
Make a play. What the hell was that all about, Walter? Make a play. And damn Antonio Brown, all he do is make plays. And then on the opposite end, you got damn Case Keenum. Another thing, too. Hey, you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Everybody's talking today. Thank you, Walter. Everybody's talking today about, why. I tell you what, we'll save that conversation when we get back from the break. I want to talk a little bit about Josh Norman. We got to do entertainment. We got a lot of stuff we got to do. There's a couple other stories I want to talk about. The Seattle Seahawks as well. Adam Jones made some very controversial comments. Colin Kaepernick latest after last night that he kneels again and protests the national anthem. We got a lot of stuff to get to, man. And not a lot of time to do it. Yeah. Let's go to break. Back in 3 minutes.
Hey you, it's your girl Spicy, host of Spicy Conversation.